Hi, I'm Blair Imani, the Executive Director of Equality for Her, and today I'm interviewing the Femme founder of Lost Queens.
Hi, I'm Daa'iyah Rahman.
Alright, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, by way of Dallas, Texas. I grew up in a two-family Islamic household where my father was the imam and my mom was a school teacher.
So how did you start Lost Queens?
Lost Queens came about through a lot of social injustices that were happening in the community, and I felt like at that time I didn't necessarily have a voice, and so I wanted to create something that everyone could be a part of, because everyone wants to feel as if they're a part of something, as if they are a part of a movement that is personal to them. So I needed to create Lost Queens to kind of be an advocate for that community, not just the melanin community, but any social injustice that goes on in the global community as a whole. And I felt like that was important, not just then, but even now, more so. Being a woman in the community, being of melanin, Black in the community, that it was just something so powerful about that. And I wanted to find the magic within every woman that I encountered.
So tell me who inspires you.
I have so many people who inspire me, but I'm going to say my mom first. Outside the creator, the universe, of course, my mom, because I come from a family of five other siblings. I'm one of six, and my mom was married, 3 master's degrees, and a teacher in a public school system that didn't necessarily give her everything that she needed from that system. And I saw her fighting so hard just to give a true education for her kids. After that, I definitely would say a lot of my influence comes from political activism. My dad was really involved in the community and I had strong figures around me, like Stephanie Tubbs Jones growing up, who definitely inspired and helped create and mold my view and perception on the world and freedom in general. It's so hard to say that and really mean that. So I definitely would say a lot of my influences comes from a political aspect, but also just art and music. I think that there's a nuance that's going on, especially around me in DC. So it's nice to be around so many creatives and a lot of women. So I think that's where I found my inspiration.
Oh, awesome. So now tell me a little bit more about your products. I see that you're wearing your jersey. I'm wearing the wrap, and you have your hat. Where did the logo come from? I really love that you've incorporated what seems like an urban style with the bandana, and then going back to roots. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So for me, I wanted to create something where I didn't feel like I had to be overly, how do I want to put this? I didn't want to feel like I had to be, live in a misogynistic world, meaning I didn't feel like I wanted to have to take my clothes off or be overly sexy. So I wanted to create something that was me taking back what's mine, and that's where my Queen Bandit came from. It was inspiration from just Egyptian feeling royal and regal, and the bandana came from me not feeling like I have to show everyone immediately who I am. I can claim back my power without me having to show you everything. And so that's what I found unique, and to find so many other people who found that appealing as well, especially as we discussed before, the Zaptista in Mexico, who the ladies wrap bandanas around their face as they join the revolution to fight for just everything in their communities, to fight for their land to not be taken from them, to fight for running water, to fight for equal wages. That's where the face came from. And then I love jerseys. When we were younger, we had this African-American collection of stamps that had Booker T. Washington and Mae Jemison. And so I wanted to create a stamp that branded what I stood for and what branded what I felt everyone else stands for. And so that's where the product came from, honestly. It came from my childhood, literally. all the things that I love from my childhood, all the things that I found beautiful through my childhood, watching so many Egyptian movies and not seeing people who look like me, and I know they look like me, you know?
Oh, well, so let's talk about that next. So, you know, a lot of times there's a bad rap, you know, people who are called, you know, quote unquote Hoteps, people who will invoke the queen narrative, but will do so to undermine and be misogynist against femmes and women who are, you know, they don't fit into their narrative of what a woman who needs to be respected looks like. Can you speak on that a little bit and kind of how that narrative is not a part of your brand?
I think there's something to be said about someone who wants to tell you about your magic, about your power, without ever having experienced that themselves. So when you have people who come from a standpoint of a lot of people want to feel as if they're educated about something without really doing the research. So it's funny when I try not to take offense to someone when they use the word queen, because I use the word queen. I use it as an empowering word term. So I think I try to let those people be, you know? Like, I accept you for where you are in life, and I'm going to appreciate that. And if you want to continue to grow in your growth and development, then have more experiences and talk to more people, and you'll see that your view may change a little bit different. And if it doesn't, continue to stay over there, and I'm going to stay over here, and we're going to keep moving.
Let's talk more about personal journeys. So, you know, with Equality for Her, when we started, we weren't doing the best at being, you know, intersectional, at uplifting voices that are marginalized. Can you tell me about your personal journey? Have you always been kind of empathetic to the social justice fight?
Ever since I was little, I've always been that way. I don't know how not to be that way. I'm a people's person by nature. I'm so open and acceptive of so many different type of people. So I think that that's what makes me and not only the brand unique, because I've always wanted to be that voice for those who are unheard. Because for a long time, I felt unheard, even though I've always had, you know, my voice, and I've never been afraid to speak up. But sometimes I felt as if, from a bigger standpoint, from a bigger picture, I felt like I didn't have that voice. I felt like I fell into that crowd. So to be able to be a voice for a Muslim woman, to be able to be a voice for a Black woman, to be able to be a voice for someone who's queer, someone who's transgender, someone who's Asian, anyone who doesn't even look like me. Like, it's nice to be able to connect to that person and find the similarities within that person and their childhood and my childhood, and the foods that they eat and the foods that I eat, and the way that my mom cooks and the way that their mom may not season food. You know, it's like, all right, cool. If you try this, then that means I gotta try that, and I'm willing to try, you know? And I think that's what makes it unique.
That's awesome. And I think that might also connect to, like, the lost part of Queens, you know, finding the common ground, finding ourselves, and reorienting ourselves in this world. I want to touch on the hair wrapping class that you did. Can you talk about that?
So, growing up in an Islamic household, I've watched so many women wrap their hair. My father he did a lot of interfaith work, so I came into contact with a lot of Jewish women who will rap, and a lot of Christian women who will rap, especially Orthodox. I have friends who are Filipino who come from families who will just rap. So I love to adorn myself that way through fabric, and I wanted to find a way to share that with anyone who wants the information. I don't like to force things upon people, but if people are like, oh, I'm willing to do this. So the class on Monday was awesome. We set up our second class actually, and our first pop-up. And so it was really cool because I had kids come, I had elders in the community come, I had my peers come, and so it was really nice. I'm actually doing an event next Friday through Brightest Young Things and a Creative DC at the National Women's Museum. And so I'm really excited about that because I get to touch even more beautiful women and share their space and see how they create. And that's beautiful because it's not just me creating. There's so many other women who are creating, and I want to find that and experience that with them as well. So
can you tell us a little bit more about how we can buy your products, how we can support, where you're on social media?
So on my social media, I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. You can find me wherever. I'm under every rock, every little leaf. My Instagram is the.lq.series. I'm on Facebook as The Lost Queen Series, and I'm on Tumblr as The Lost Queen Series. The website will be hopefully done by the end of this weekend, and so we'll be moving virally that way as well. But yeah, you can find me.
We'll put the links at the bottom as well.
Yay!
But thank you so much.